So another thing I just thought to talk about, and I thought maybe I do have another video that's uploading right now onto my channel that I'm going to add to my little documentation playlist. But I thought another good thing to go over just really quickly, and also to upload to the channel, is basically adding, images or other files into Animate. Um, images, sound, images and sound and reference video are all things that can go into Animate and be really helpful with different other clips of video. You can then go frame by frame in rotoscope, which sometimes that's not something I've personally done, but it is something you can do that can be kind of a helpful reference. You can have reference images there to know generally the shape of what you might want something to be, or get you can eyedrop and get color palettes from that. So there's a few different things you can do in that regard, as well as sound is another type of file that you can import. Sound doesn't really work the best in Animate because, of course, the point of having sound in your Animate file, or one of the points, is getting things to sync up, but it doesn't really play in the player as well. For example, if you pause it and then play the clip again from where you would pause, the sound will stop, and basically to see how your animation looks with sound, you have to play through your whole entire clip over and over again, which can be a bit arduous and a bit of a pain. But things like adding different videos or adding perhaps photograph to your layers can be a great thing. So what we're going to do is open up our file thing here. As you can see, I have and hopefully you can see, I know sometimes the recorder I'm using in particular, although it is a Stream Recorder and it does record Animate, it doesn't like to record every window I had open. I know it was recording the timeline for a bit. But basically every, I have like the walk cycle and things like that, and those are all just numbered and saved in iterations. So I have like the walk going right, and I have that from, the first one all the way up to like a 10th version, just based on how much I edit it. And you do want to save things in iteration like that, so hopefully you can see that. We're going then into the work folder and getting, where the heck did I put it? Okay, this guy. And I believe we can just kind of drag and drop him into our little frame there. And as you can see, now we have a picture of this mantis there that I could reference, for animations or different work if I wanted to. As you can see, he's quite pretty. And then if I wanted to put this behind the animation, I would put it behind the layers I have. You can scale it up and down the same way you would with another thing by just using the transform tool, things like that. And there, so now it's a bit smaller, you can kind of move it around. And another good thing to do with images, they can serve as backgrounds as well. There's a lot of things you can do with images in Animate. For example, if you do like a really nice background in Photoshop, you could theoretically just throw that and be your background in an Animate file. But here it would be perhaps, like, a reference for the thing I'm animating. And also, you can keyframe these the same as any other animation, so if you want it to stop showing up, you would just go and insert your little keyframe there. Which, that's another thing I should have gone over in the hotkeys video, is to add insert frames. I believe it's F5 that just inserts a frame into your already existing keyframe. So you see, if I press 5 a bunch, that increases the keyframes on my timeline. But if you want to add a keyframe, so basically add a switch from one frame to another, you do F6, I believe. So there we can delete, the image out of that keyframe. And then, so there's different things that you can do with, for example, if you're using something as a reference image and tracing it, something that I like to do, if I am, using a reference or something like that, I need to kind of follow along with it, is I like it to be a little transparent, because that just kind of helps me keep more track of what I'm drawing as opposed to, any, kind of image that could be a reference. So to do that, you would just go into properties, and you can do that by, if you right-click on your layer, you get a little menu that comes up. At the very, very bottom, you'll get properties, and there will be like a little thing that says visibility, and you can click on transparent, and that will make whatever you have transparent. So those are just ways you can use images and animate, ways you can kind of affect them and use them for how you want. Like if I wanted this mantis guy to be the color of the mantis that I, brought in, more true to form, I could go and I drop off this image. So, then maybe he's looking a little bit more as he is pictured here. And obviously these are different kinds of mantises, but I just thought, I already have this picture, so I figured I'd just drag it in. Yeah, so that's just quick, kind of things you can do with images, there in terms of bringing them into Animate or bringing any other asset into Animate that is not just, things you might draw directly. And references can be extremely helpful when you're drawing really hard poses from really hard angles, like the security cam footage where everyone is featured, from an angle directly above, as well as, I understand Jory's cam footage, she had to draw a lot of cars, and that was a bit of a challenge, because drawing cars without reference is, a little bit difficult. So, that's how you can bring in images, you can bring in, you can bring in images, you can bring in footage, you can bring in sound. Although, sound doesn't necessarily work the best on here, but, you do kind of what you have to do, really.